Hello everybody, it's Zuzu. 안녕하세요, 저는 Zuzu입니다. And today it is time to unbox some new books that the wind is saying hello. It's been very windy and stormy, so I'm sorry if you can hear any wind. But today it is time to unbox some new books that I ordered from Talk to Me in Korean. If you remember, I've done a Talk to Me in Korean review video some time ago. And in my latest vlog about studying Korean, I told you that I haven't been as active studying Korean again, but I'm studying Korean every day. So I'll be doing an update after I finish the 5 levels. I'm at level 4 now, so I'm almost done. But one of the things that I noticed while studying the level 1 to 4 books from Talk to Me in Korean is that it is a lot of grammar. Like, you learn so much grammar, but you don't really get to use it for writing or speaking or reading. It's just grammar after grammar after grammar, and there is some vocabulary in there, but not that much, in my opinion. So I just really wanted to have some extra books to practice reading and speaking. I'm working on writing, but writing is a little bit difficult because I don't really have someone to check my Korean. So I can write Korean, but I don't know if it's correct or if I'm making any mistakes, so that's the problem. Here is the new Talk to Me in Korean box that I got. So yeah, let's open it all up. I'm super curious. Ooh. So the first books that I want to introduce are these 5 reading books. Honestly, I learn the fastest when I read in the language that I want to learn. That's how I learned English most of the time. It's just I read and read a lot of English books, but I don't really have any reading books in Korean. So I thought I would buy some reading books, and yeah, this was like a package of 5. So I didn't choose this separately. It was just like this. The level that you need for this one is, I think, level 7. Right now I'm at level 5, so these might be a bit too difficult for me, but I still like to practice reading even if I don't understand what it says. So yeah, I got these 5. What's really nice about this book is that on one side you have the Korean version and on the other side you have the English version, so you can read side by side, and the same goes for all of these books. So even though these are still a little bit too difficult to read, probably for my level, but maybe I will reach the level in a few months, I can read these, so I already have them. And I'm just really excited to start reading them, but I might need to wait a little bit until my Korean is a bit more advanced. Then the next book that I got is Real Life Korean Conversations for Beginners. I'm not really a beginner, but one of the things that I really stand behind is that even though your skill is better than a beginner or an intermediate or an advanced level, I still think it's interesting to see what these kinds of books have, because sometimes there are new words, new sentences that you didn't know about, and then you get to learn them in the beginner book or a book that's below your level, and I think that's just really interesting. So I got the beginner version, and I also got the intermediate version, so I can use both of them. You first have a small conversation to talk about the topic that the chapter will talk about, and there's also like a track that you get on the Talk to Me in Korean website, so you can also listen to the audio. And then once you've had that, then on this side you get the vocabulary that you maybe didn't know, and then underneath you have a little bit of a Korea culture notes, which is like super handy. Like, I already know a lot of Korean culture because I've lived there and studied there, but there is still so much more to a culture than what I learned right there, so I still learn new things right here. And then on the other page you get a much longer dialogue to read with English subtitles, which is really nice. And then again you get the vocabulary that you maybe didn't know. On the next page you get a page of grammar to explain how the grammar worked in the dialogue. And then again on the next page you get some speaking tips, so you learn how to pronounce a bachim or how it changes. So this is really good for speaking skills. And then right here you get the same long dialogue as before, but then without English translations. And that's basically just like one chapter, and then you've got like many more chapters with the same thing. So yeah, I think this is a really great book to learn more about vocabulary and how to use grammar, and just to see how Korean is used in general, because like I said, the way I learn is by reading, because I can see how Korean is used to write something or to say something. I think these kinds of books will work better for me than the grammar books that I got. And then the intermediate book is pretty much the same, but it's more difficult than the beginner, because this is for intermediate level. Like for example, we have here chapter 4, and then again we get a little dialogue with the English translations right next to it. As you can see, the dialogue has become longer, and I think that's a nice step up after the beginner. Oh, okay. It actually, I thought it was just one page, but it's actually 2 pages, so it is really a lot longer. And then again you get the vocabulary, and oh, this is pattern practice. What is that? Study these 3 grammar patterns that were used in the dialogue and practice. Okay, so it's probably how to build a sentence with different grammar. I think you don't really get the short dialogue, it's just a long dialogue. That's the intermediate version. And then I got one more book, and this one is specifically for reading. It is News in Korean. So one of the reasons why I got News in Korean is to practice formal Korean. When I'm practicing Korean on my own, it's mostly just the regular formal form, or banman, which is the informal form. But you also have like the really formal form, which is mostly used when you are working at a company, or like elderly people, or the news, like really formal. So that's why I wanted to learn more about it, and I thought, well, in news it's always used, and I think it's important to also know the very formal way of talking in Korean. So right here you get like a Korean news article, and then right next to it you have a few study notes where it explains a bit of vocabulary, yeah, some words that you don't fully understand, because words in the news or topics in the news are not always the easiest. It's not really your everyday kind of vocabulary, so it's really nice to have it. And then after reading that, you have like an exercise quiz to see if you understood the article, and that's just the whole book. The whole book is full of news articles, some explanations, and then some exercises. So I'm really excited about this. So far, I actually already have used this one. I'm really in love with this one. I think I'm about, yeah, I think I'm about here, so I'm almost halfway. And I have to say, I'm really learning a lot of vocabulary and how to use grammar. I should practice speaking out loud a little bit more, but it just I don't know if it's just me, but it's so weird to talk out loud to myself. Sometimes my mom just comes in and she's just like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, trying to talk in Korean, but maybe it doesn't sound like Korean, I don't know. I feel like many people want to buy the 1 to 10 level grammar books from Talk to Me in Korean, because they are really good. They really explain grammar very well. But the problem for me with those books is that I don't really get to practice it a lot. There's the workbooks, but for me it's just not enough to remember grammar, and I often have to go back to be like, wait, what did this grammar mean, or how do I use it again? I just keep forgetting. And that's why I bought these books, to really see how the grammar is used, how I can use it myself. I think these books are really a great addition to my Korean study book collection. I actually enjoy studying with these books more than with the grammar books. And it's mostly because I feel like I learned more from these. It's for me easier to understand. But honestly, even though I enjoy these books more. I think that a mix of these books and the grammar books is the best. If there's grammar in these books that I don't fully understand because the explanation in here is very short compared to the one in the grammar books, then I just get the grammar book, I read about the grammar, and then I understand it. And it's really nice that way to study. So I'm really happy with these yeah. On my last video about the grammar books from Talk to Me in Korean, many people asked me, what should I do? Should I buy them? Should I not buy them? Should I do something else? Or they're very expensive. The shipping is very expensive. So what would you recommend? So here's my recommendation. First of all, you don't need to buy the grammar level books, because if you make an account on Talk to Me in Korean, you can get access to the essential courses, which is free. And the grammar and everything is about 95% the same, so you can save some money. But if you don't like to study online and you just really prefer to have a book, then I do recommend buying the books, because I think Talk to Me in Korean is one of the best at making study books for Korean. Actually, some of these books, I don't know if it's specifically these or another one, but some of these books have been made into ebooks, and those are cheaper than buying the books itself, so you can cut some costs if you want to buy them. But my recommendation in the end is not just to buy the grammar books. I would really recommend buying other books that also show you how Korean is used, whether that's a reading book or a conversation book or slang or a K-fiction reading book. I really recommend getting some books that show you how Korean is used normally and not just in a study book. I always thought that study books is the way to study, but I quickly noticed that this works better for me. So that's my recommendation. But if you like grammar over and over and you don't forget it, then maybe just the grammar books is fine. But I need some variation. That's just how my brain works. Of course, there's also lots of other websites and YouTube channels that offer Korean lessons for free. I will put them in the description box down below. That is my review of these books. I'm really happy with them. I hope this video was helpful for if you're studying Korean like me. And yeah, I wish you all a lot of happiness and success in studying Korean. I know it's a tough road to walk, but it is also fun, isn't it? So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Okay? Bye bye!